He's not a bat, he's a man who fights crime. And we're gonna watch him fight for a minute at a time. With John and Niall and a guest who doesn't rhyme. It's Bat Minute! Attention, citizens of fair Gotham, and welcome once again to Bat Minute Forever, the show that acts as a love letter to Joel Schumacher's masterpiece, kind of. I am one of your hosts, John Parker.
And here, desperately saving up for a new door, it is I, Niall McGowan.
Yeah, sorry about that. Sorry about that.
Every week, John. Every week, like, all right, we're recording.
I can't help it. I open it like I'm Kramer in Seinfeld. But anyway, we are joined by a very special guest, a first-time guest, in fact. We have the one, the only, the Professor, Christy Porter.
Hey, fellas, it is so nice to be here. I'm so excited to talk about these particular minutes, and I'm so excited to hear what you have to say about these minutes.
Oh.
Thanks.
It's one of these things as well. Like it's becoming kind of par for the course throughout this entire show, where you keep looking at minutes that when you were a kid and you saw this, these were minutes where you're like, oh. Just get to bed, man. What are you wasting time with Chase Meridian for? And now watching them minute by minute, it's like, oh, these minutes are fascinating. Like
they are fascinating.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I'm surprised. These are the best scenes, I think, so far. I'm quite shocked. But the minute in question is minute 31, and it starts with the aftermath of door destruction, and it ends with the solving of a riddle, an actual riddle. Finally.
Yes, there's not going to be much more after these 2 minutes.
No.
You're kind of like, oh, I forget about the riddles for a while then.
Yeah, there might be one more.
This is the first riddle we have?
I think we saw the one at the end of this minute before, and then next minute we'll have the second riddle. Uh-huh. And then I think you get the third one, maybe like 20 minutes time, and then they kind of forget until near the end. Yeah. It's like, oh, that's right, he's the Riddler. Like we should give him a riddle.
Despite his name, there's very little riddling going on in this entire film. He just completely turns into a crazed lunatic, and he doesn't even sort of portray the character as being hyper intelligent, really. He's just strange more than anything.
I think he works at it. I think he works at trying to portray it. I'm sympathetic.
Yeah. He is a man. He's bringing his whole ass to this performance, Jim Carrey. Like, he is not half-assing this. He is
not a 3/4, not a 2/3 ass. No, full ass. Okay, good.
But we don't have him in this minute though. We're back as Bruce has barged in on Chase. He thought she was under attack, but it turns out she was just working out. Oh, that old one. That's always happening to me. Yeah.
I will say though, just in the interest of cleaning up something, forgot to go into last minute, and sorry, because it was one of those things I saw. Like, there's a thing there. It's like, oh, that's bound to be in the next minute because it's in the same room. You're bound to see it again, and you don't throughout the rest of this week. So, and the purpose of cleaning this up, and Chris, you might be able to jump in this because it's a very famous painting, and maybe you have an opinion on it yourself. But on Chase Meridian's floor, you see the infamous work of Renee Magritte. The Treachery of Images is one of her artworks that she has. Like, she hasn't put it up yet.
I had no idea that was on there. No, now I have to go back.
It's just in the previous minute, just as Bruce is coming in, you see it on the floor. And the thing is, because Joel Schumacher is a costume designer, so he knows about the importance of the imagery on the scene, the mise en scène and stuff. There's no way that that's there by accident. He's deliberately put that in for a reason. And looking into Magritte's work, because I'm like, yeah, in case people don't know what the Treachery of Images is, you do know what it is because you've definitely seen it. A classic piece of surrealist art where it's a picture of a pipe, and then beneath it says ceci ne. Oh, sorry, my French is terrible. Ceci n'est pas un pipe, which is this is not a pipe.
No.
Peep.
Be friends with a French person, Niall. You could have spoken to her.
People looking into Magritte's work, because I was like, oh, well, why is that there then? They'll say that commonly in Magritte's work was designed to show us what we want is always behind the thing we see. So in this idea, like, the Son of Man painting he did, which is the infamous picture of a guy in a bowler hat with an apple in front of his face, might have been more appropriate because, the thing we want, what does Chase Meridian want, Batman, is behind the thing that she's seeing, Bruce Wayne.
That would have been a really good choice.
Yeah. But see, I would have been like, oh, maybe Joel Schumacher thought that was too on the nose. But then this is also Batman Forever.
I was going to say the whole damn movie's on the nose.
He's not exactly the master of subtlety, but
this is not a peep. This is not a pipe. So because what you see is not what you get. Is that is that the idea here? I see.
I think I was looking really into like trying to get it. It's one of those annoying things because I did like a surrealist art class when I was in university, and one of their things was like, if you can put any kind of interpretation on this, it's not a surrealist artwork because surrealism should have no meaning. That's the entire point of it, is that you should not be able to interpret this in any way. But a lot of people have interpreted it, what the treachery of images is. And, the whole idea is that, you look at it and you see, oh, that's a pipe. And the idea, like it says underneath, is like, this is not a pipe. It's designed to separate what the text you believe, like in your mind, in your head, logically would go, it should say this is a pipe because it's a picture of a pipe, but it's telling you it's not. So it's taking a singular idea and splitting it into two, which is throughout the rest of this movie, you've got a whole thing with duality.
That's pretty good.
One thing that's actually two. You got Bruce Wayne, Batman. You got Harvey Dent and Two-Face. And
I used that particular image, and they say it's not a pipe, but I use it to say, well, no, it's a picture of a pipe. Boy, am I concrete.
Oh,
I guess. Yeah,
That's
I like your
genius.
explanation much better. Maybe if I had taken a surrealist class, I guess. Well, here's a question for that. Here's a question on that. Would you ever go to a psychotherapist who had that kind of intimidating image on her floor, on her walls?
No, her whole place, her whole office is terrifying to me.
It is. It truly is.
it's really, everything about it is bait. Like, even as we go throughout the week, I think even when it gets to like the Malaysian Dream Warden, I think that's just there to prompt a reaction. I don't think Chase Meridian has any belief in that Dream Warden. I think she's just like, I want to see how he reacts to it. Everything's just there designed to be like, so what do you think? Like, what's your deal? And then she's like, oh, of course, I'm not a fan of Magritte. I don't believe in Malaysian Dream Wardens, but they're just there because I know I can prompt you into confessing something to me.
Well, I do like as well now that you brought up the sort of duality thing, because I think here we finally see another side of Chase. All movie, she's been very one note up until this point, which I genuinely love. I really like this scene because it tries to show us that she's got more layers and dimensions. Wanting to bone the bat is just one aspect of her personality. You know, she's multifaceted, like a real person.
Her extreme horniness is only one thread of a rich tapestry.
Yeah,
we've got two things now.
That's all you need. That makes you at least semi-believable, because you know, we're all multifaceted people. We all have different aspects to ourselves. She kind of takes on a persona around Batman, and this is maybe her more normal day-to-day kind of self.
Maybe it's part of her practice, but like throughout this week, you know, I think they're building up to build up the irony of like, oh, she's so into Batman, but she can't stand Bruce Wayne at first.
Yeah.
But it just seems like this guy's got an appointment. She is so kind of callous with him. And I understand he did cave in her door, so that's maybe fair enough.
But she wasn't even surprised by it. She's kind of like, yes, can I help you? I mean, she wasn't. I mean, if somebody comes knocking through your door, wouldn't you get at least riled? I think you would.
She seems kind of mildly irritated.
Yeah.
Like, ugh.
It's like they tell you when you're moving to Gotham, it's like, just expect anything. Like, someone could come crashing through your door any second. That's just the way they knock over there. Like, it's just...
Happens twice a week.
Guy in a cape flying past your window. There's going to be freaking clowns and giant cakes poisoning the streets. You know, it's the way it goes.
But my only defense of her reaction is that maybe due to her job and what they're here to do, like, she's seeing this as an opportunity. Like, what a start to their relationship here. Considering what she's going to do, you know, she's going to analyze him and things like, oh my God, this is perfect. Yeah. What a guy to dig into. This guy's just came smashing through my door.
But no, she's kind of annoyed.
Mm.
And he's awkward. What's that about? Why do they do this whole thing through this minute? Like, and now we're awkward, and now we're sort of irritated, and now we're one-upping. I guess that's what they're doing in these minutes. They're one-upping each other and trying to prove that they're very smart.
Yeah. I don't know why he's so awkward though. I mean, in the last two movies, especially in Batman Returns, they did portray Bruce as being a little bit awkward around the love interests and stuff, and it made sense with that character. But this Bruce is cool and calm and suave. Yeah. So I don't really get it for this Bruce.
I kind of like it, though, as again, if you take it as this is the third of a trilogy, or the third of a quadrology, if you count Batman and Robin. If you see, the development of Bruce Wayne's introduction to his love interest throughout all the movies is that in the first movie, when he was first introduced to Vicky Vale, he was acting kind of befuddled and charming and stuff. But she was tapping his shoulder and he was looking over the wrong one. And the thing is, it made him come across as a really kind of goofy, quirky kind of guy when he first met her. And then it was all like, "Oh, are you Bruce Wayne?" Like, "Oh, I'm not sure," and all this kind of all that sort of stuff. And it was like he was in control, portraying this, put on a performance of a guy who's like a quirky, befuddled kind of guy. Then when he met Selina Kyle, like in Max Schreck's office, he was genuinely just like, "Oh, what the hell?" Like he was so flummoxed by her. That was kind of like, it's the exact opposite. He was no way. Selina was in complete control in that situation. So much, even then when she's just like, "I'm working," and he's just like, "Ooh, I'm leaving." Like the elevator door closed on him because he's just so out of it and stuff. And this is kind of like, it's like the flip now of the introduction. It's gone full circle into, or like not full circle, but it's gone like a 90-degree thing to Vicky Vale, where he began this completely in control and like, "Oh yeah, I know what I'm doing in this situation." And then through his own incompetence, he is now genuinely again flummoxed and just like, "Oh crap. Oh, yeah, so I really messed this up." and now Chase Meridian has the upper hand on him.
And do you find his Val's portrayal of the awkwardness believable here?
I think it's one of the bits of real genuine life he actually brings to the performance, because a lot of the time he's portraying him as if this is a man who's inherently dead inside. Like that sounds like as a criticism, but I think that's the choice he's made. Like I think we've kind of got a running theory now is that we know that him and Joel Schumacher did not get on.
Oh no.
And there's a lot of stuff like we're talking about in that Val Kilmer apparently signed on without having read the script. He was just like, "Oh, of course I'll play Batman."
I wouldn't read the script if someone offered me the part of Batman.
Yeah, and that now...
You wouldn't read the script?
No. Yeah, he was just like, "They're offering me Batman. Of course I'll play Batman."
Yeah, I don't even care if it's crap. I'd just be there. Like, hell yeah, I'll do Batman, whatever.
But I might want to read the script.
Nah, just turn up on the day. It's fine.
Okay then.
But in keeping with that idea, though, I think then, because if you do read the script, as we've been reading like both drafts of the script that we can get our hands on throughout the process, the Bruce Wayne they're portraying on paper and throughout the movie, because you keep seeing all of the magazines covers, and he's such a beloved guy, and Edward Nygma's obsessed with the charismatic billionaire Bruce Wayne. And then on like there's deleted scenes on the scripts where he's coming across as a kind of Michael Keaton-ish, funny, charming kind of guy. And I think Val Kilmer's interpretation was like, "That's not the way I should, I don't like this. I want to play him as a man who's dead inside. And he's never quite recovered from, his parents' death and stuff, and he's just emotionally cut off and all this kind of thing." So my theory is like, that's what caused a lot of the friction between him and Joel Schumacher, is that he's like, liven it up a bit, like be more dashing and charming and stuff. And Val Kilmer is like, no, I don't think I should be doing that.
No thanks. Pass on the dashing and charming.
But yeah, this scene is one, and I think they did say this is one of the first scenes they shot. So this is him actually, maybe he is putting it a little more of a kind of like, he's got the hair kind of out of place, and he's doing like the kind of slight comic tilting his head by like, "I'm Bruce Wayne," like trying to regain his dignity after like a horrific embarrassment and stuff.
And she doesn't have that problem at all. She is, she's calm, and she's very much in control, and she's, strong and powerful, and she's not upset about the intrusion, and completely. And she's not necessarily. I get the feeling she's not necessarily going to work with this guy if she doesn't feel like it.
Yeah. And again, I like that portrayal, because so far she's been. How do I put it? It's been quite a negative portrayal for a female character. I think she's purely there for eye candy purposes up until this point, where she's totally spun it around and flipped the script. I'd never noticed watching it through just casually in the past how different it is.
Although you saying that, John, just reminds me of like two things. Is that like in the director's commentary? This is around the time we talked about last week, where Joel Schumacher was saying like, "Oh, like no one looks as good as Nicole Kidman in that leotard," and then he's like, "A lot of people really have criticized me for like objectifying the men and women in my movies," and you tell me what's wrong with that. Like he doesn't understand that. Like,
it's not that unusual, I have to say.
No,
it happens all the time.
And then keep in mind another thing is that one of the other people who was up for the part of Chase Meridian was Linda Hamilton. Mm-hmm. And you consider like there's similar scenes in Terminator 2 where like Sarah Connor's working out and she's dripping with sweat and the hair's matted and she looks like, oh, she could destroy you. She looks like a genuinely tough person. Chase Meridian here doing her boxing, makeup's perfect, not a bead of sweat on her. She still is. That. She's there to look like, oh, she still looks fantastic though. That's the thing. I'm like, maybe it could have been maybe more. At least more believable, if nothing else, that if he came in and she was drenched in sweat and stuff.
Yeah, and like, Batman likes he likes it a little bit different, shall we say? As we saw in the last movie, that was a very intense relationship. So he doesn't like people being too prim and proper.
Yeah. But what are your feelings on Chase Meridian as a character, Christy? Like you as a person who was not unfamiliar with dealing with psychology and
that's why I love I'm so glad to be talking these minutes with you because yes, psychologist and I definitely thought that she was not convincing as a kickboxer. She was but I could kind of see her as a psychologist of a very particular type. I think it fits in the way they set this scene up and they set her space up, works really, really well with the rest of the movie. So we know that there's light here and we know that it's a perfectly normal thing. It's not day glow, for instance. And I thought perhaps she would be a psychologist. So I saw her variously described as a criminal psychologist and couple of places a psychiatrist. She's not a psychiatrist, she's a psychologist. And she certainly played it smart. She was trying to get the upper hand, which I thought made her very interesting. I'm still trying to figure out if she makes I'm convinced that she's playing a psychologist in this. Fine, she's a psychologist. One of the things that I wasn't real sure about is the chemistry between these two and how things were going to resolve so that they all become each other's love interest and so forth. That's a different question, of course. Here she does not show her. It's not the best. It's not the best, but that's okay. It'll happen. I guess I can be patient, right? I can be patient.
I think, though, part of it as well is his character, like, again, the way he's portraying it, very cold and distant, except in this scene. Because even when he's Batman and she's all over him, his reaction is kind of just, okay. Like, he doesn't seem flummoxed. He doesn't seem to care, really. It's like, okay, you're right. How do I get rid of this woman then?
I've been really feeling for Nicole all week as well, because I've been like, okay, delve in more into like what she thought of this performance and stuff. And if you get like interviews from her throughout the years, back in '95 and more recently, she keeps saying the same thing, where she's like trying to be like, oh yeah, Dr. Chase Meridian, like, oh yeah, interesting character to play and stuff. And then her other thing, always immediately followed by, yeah, I kind of wish I was like one of the villains or something though. Like
we've been saying this all bloody show. Like she should be a villain.
She would make a good villain.
I think she's flat out saying though, she's like, I wish I was the Riddler or something though. Like I wish they'd give me another part, because I was just like looking at Jim Carrey in that green spandex, but like that should be my suit. Like I could do that. Like and then keeping in mind this is the same year she made To Die For, which is just like an actress's dream role of just like playing this really nuanced main character who's just like, you get to do everything in that part. And then she filmed that before Batman Forever, and it came out after. So in all of the publicity stuff of Batman Forever, she's constantly going like, well, I have this movie that we filmed before called To Die For, and I'm very excited about that and stuff. And you can tell,
I don't think I remember To Die For. What's To Die For?
Oh, To Die For is a movie where she plays like a woman who's obsessed with becoming like a celebrity. And she starts off dating Matt Dillon in like a little small town, marries into him, and he's got like a mob family and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And then she becomes like the local weather girl.
Yeah.
And she's like very, very efficient and like really obsessed with her image and stuff. And then she befriends Joaquin Phoenix, a young Joaquin Phoenix. Casey Affleck, the brother of friggin', the one-time Batman, Ben Affleck.
Oh, everything's connected.
Yeah. and like, eventually then she kind of convinces them through various, because the Matt Dillon ends up like, no, you're never going to amount to anything. Like, why didn't you give up this whole dream of being a famous weather person and stuff? Ends up convincing them to kill her husband and stuff.
I remember it now. Yeah. That was a good movie. That was a good movie. And they gave her a lot to do, didn't they?
Yeah, because the entire movie hinges on the performance of Nicole Kidman. And it's like, she can tell in every moment she's just like relishing getting to play this part. And then to follow that up with like, well, you're in a Batman movie. You're the love interest, but you're not Catwoman, because that would have been a good love interest to play. but we already did that. So, you're... And then they do that thing like, I have a problem with in a lot of movies. And it's a prime example of it is Dr. Chase Meridian, where they set up right here that she's a strong woman who can handle herself. Like, she's doing the kickboxing and all this sort of stuff. And it's kind of like paying lip service to the idea that, like, oh yeah, she's completely capable. Only for then, at the end of the movie, she's a damsel in distress, though. Like, that's what she's there to be, just like, you have a choice between saving her or saving Robin. And there you go. That's her part in the movie. It's just, I always find it a little... like, I think it's a kind of thing of like, a filmmaker probably thinks they're being quite progressive, but like, oh, we're throwing in a scene where it shows that she can handle herself, and at the end it's just like, nah, but this back to back
so
to
one of the
basically.
things I noted when I was looking stuff up on her was that there were two book jackets that were being sold by a prop house, and they were apparently books that she had written. One of them was called Inside Schizoid Dementia, New Approaches to Research and Treatment. And another one was Zero Variable Theories and Psychology Today. So I would say both of those are terrible titles. And
they're very catchy.
Too long and so forth. And Inside Schizoid Dementia does not make any sense at all. Like zero sense. Zero sense. It's not a thing. There's schizoid personality disorder. There's dementia. They don't go together at all, and they have zero to do with why the Gotham City Police hired her in the first place. So she's supposed to be this. She's supposed to be this very smart person on multiple personality disorder, now called dissociative personality disorder, and none of these words have anything to do with that. So I know that they want her to be, strong and powerful and equal in intelligence, but. Not according to these books that she's been writing.
I don't understand how movies do this. Why don't they just give someone like you a call and just run it by you?
It wouldn't have been that tough. Frankly, I would have been happy to let them know that schizoid dementia is not a thing.
It would take like a 10-minute phone call.
It's like a 10-minute, maybe 2-minute, like Zero Variable Theories. Those actually exist, but in Psychology Today, nah. No, so it's nothing to do with anything.
Imagine though, like back in 1995, though they're calling like Christy Porter back then, just like I have no idea what you're talking about. I've yet to study those topics yet. So like, call me in 25 years time, maybe.
That's true, absolutely true.
But yeah, so then I actually do really appreciate Chase's line here. Like, I love that. I'm Bruce Wayne, and she's like, oh, good. That means you can afford to buy me a new door. I was like, that's a good zinger. That one,
and it's a fair point. He's a billionaire.
Yeah. And I do think, and then Val's like, we keep bringing it up throughout, but it's almost easy to forget these days that Val Kilmer started off as a comedy actor. When he does his little, like, oh, sorry. It's like he's putting on, like, a nebbish, nerdy voice. I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm so sorry, Dr. Meridian.
Is this because he's Batman, right? Or is it just a terrible prop? When he picks that door up, it looks like it weighs absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Wouldn't an old building like this have a giant, heavy wooden door?
It would have. It was a poor choice.
It's terrible. Like, because you could show her reaction, like, oh my God, like he's picking up that door. That's crazy.
Maybe is Bruce Wayne will buy her a better door because he's like, I shouldn't have been able to break down that thing in the first try. Like, it should be oak. It should be like 4 attempts to get through that thing. I couldn't help but feel as well. I know it couldn't have been, but like knowing that Val Kilmer played Jim Morrison, and now he's got a major sequence involving a door, Is it like because he was in the doors, right?
He should have smashed through 2 doors, making it plural.
Plural doors.
Yeah. Although I should say, rewatched The Doors recently, and I think again, as you grow older, you get more cynical. Like approaching Jim Morrison and their attitude now with a real kind of like arched eyebrow. Because I loved it when I was a teenager, but now seeing these guys talking about like, breaking down the doors of perception, man, and all this kind of stuff. You're just like, oh, grow up, would you? But there is a scene actually where Jim Morrison's in Andy Warhol's factory. He's touring around, and it's been toured around by Paul Williams, who we talked about last movie, because he's the voice of the Penguin, like in the Batman animated series. Mm-hmm. And then he bumps into Andy Warhol's Crispin Glover, of course, guy who should have played the Joker years ago, but never got the chance. And a person who keeps popping up in this podcast for some reason, John, bumps into Michael Madsen, of all people.
Yeah.
Wow.
How many times is that Michael Madsen's come up now? 5?
Because it's just like, man, it's hard. We're going to have to get him on by the end of the season. It's like, Michael, why do we keep talking about you? Why are you here?
We can't get him on. One of our guests was insulting him.
Oh, he'll never listen to the show. But yeah, just and also in Everything's Connected, because of course Val Kilmer played Doc Holliday in Tombstone, which is the role that got him the part of Bruce Wayne.
And I've still never seen it.
It's all right, It's not this great movie, but that same year, quite infamously, Kevin Costner had his own Wyatt Earp movie out that had Michael Madsen in it. So,
oh my gosh, it is all connected. Not only is it all connected, but nothing is getting by you guys. You guys are drawing all the. Now tell the truth. Do you have like big sheets of paper on your walls, and you just like draw big circles, and this is connected to that, and all in the service of the podcast, right?
It's like a detective movie, where the detective is sort of losing it a little bit, and they're drawing lines, trying to connect all these things. My walls are covered in scribbles.
That's what I'm picturing. It's working.
You can't bring in red string to my house because I'll just end up like tying it to the different pins around and everything. One thing I actually have though, genuinely wonder is because he's picking up this door, right? And then to make things more awkward, like something falls off it as well. Like it's kind of like it's an embarrassing enough funny situation, and he's all like, "Oh yeah, sorry," and then like the door breaks even a little bit more, and I'm wondering if that was deliberately rigged or is it a happy accident that the thing was still falling apart, and he's like, "Oh, that's good timing."
Yeah, they didn't mention it in the commentary, did they? That I noticed anyway.
Because it reminded me of I don't know if you've seen the movie Local Hero. Great movie from the 80s where
no,
but really really look it up, it's fantastic. But there's a bit where there's this guy goes to like a little town in England to try to buy it for Burt Lancaster basically, and he's trying to convince this guy who lives like in a little shanty house out by the seaside to move out of his house, and the guy's like, nope, not doing the classic old man thing, like, nope, not budgeting at all and stuff. And as he's out on the beach, he's just like, well, we're offering you like $500,000 to just you can go anywhere you want. And he's like, I'm all right, I'm happy here and stuff. And then the old man goes to him like, look, I'll pick up a handful of sand. And he's like, would you give me a pound for every grain of sand in my hand? That's what I'll sell it to you for. And then as he's doing that, a little clump of sand falls out of his hand. He's like, oop, that's saved you a couple of quid right there. And it's one of those things you can tell that just happened on the day, and he just improvised that. I was like, that's just a great little moment and stuff. But I wonder if it's the same situation here. We're like, oh no, this thing just randomly fell off the door at the right time. And they're like, oh, perfect, keep that in. That was great.
Well, in different news, I looked into how to knock a door down.
Oh,
I know.
Oh, thank goodness.
I went to a website, The Art of Manliness, which is obviously a website I clearly frequent. I'm so macho and masculine.
You also keep forgetting your keys, John, so it's good that you looked up this...
That's the main reason I went on there, to be honest, for my own purposes, yeah.
I would really love it that actually when someone's walking past you, you're just standing in the street looking that up, and they're like, are you researching like that one scene of Batman Forever? And you're like, nah, I'm going to lock myself out.
Well,
how do we do this? How do we accomplish this?
Well, first of all, the first bit of advice, don't charge the door, kick it.
Oh.
Number one, because you're going to ruin your shoulder, basically, if you charge the door. And you first have to check to see which way the door opens by looking at the hinges. So if it opens towards you, kicking it down is going to be next to impossible, apparently. That's not happening. So if it swings away from you, cool. You're all right. And you want to kick to the side of where the lock is mounted, so near the keyhole, because that'll be the weakest part of the door for some reason. Doesn't explain why.
Okay.
And you want to do a front kick with the heel of your foot. So yeah, just a big kick forwards. Keep your balance, of course. I mean, I don't know why they bother saying that. I mean, I thought I wouldn't think about my balance. That's fine.
Because if you fall down, it's not going to work. Got it. All right. Okay.
But you don't kick the lock. You kick the side with the lock on. If you kick the lock, you'll break your foot because it's reinforced. But the wood should begin to splinter, it says, because today most doors are soft and hollow. So they are.
Not like
very
back
cheap.
in my day. We used to build doors to last, let me tell you.
Well, basically, it
Manly
says older solid doors will be more resistant. And the advice to get through them, I love it. Just keep on kicking. Just keep on kicking. And avoid jump kicks. It said, while you may be tempted to employ this manly move, jumping diminishes your stability. So there you go. Just basically keep on just battering the side with the lock on. So
how did our hero do then? Well, in the art of manly door knocking down.
He went against every piece of advice, I think. Because let's see. He charged the door. Which side did he hit, though? That's what... I can't remember last minute.
He didn't check the hinges.
He did not check the hinges. He goes into the middle.
I wonder how many doors he's knocked down in his life, and I wonder if it has ever worked. I guess it's worked. It must have worked, or he wouldn't bother doing it.
He does this all the time. This is just how he enters and exits rooms.
Oh, okay. This is just every day for him. I see.
Yeah.
Well, he is that manly, I will say. Now, he did keep his balance, which was quite manly.
The balance was maintained, but looking at it, he charged the door, and he seems to just sort of hit it. He hits it on the correct side, but in the completely wrong place. So he's missed the mark on most of those points. But he still, at the end of the day, he achieved it in one stroke.
Well,
who are we to argue?
Yeah. Let's just imagine, though, like that's why Alfred tries to keep him down in the Batcave. Like, there's so few doors down there. It's an easy cleanup.
Yeah.
That's why he's got that giant safe door for where the bat suits are. It goes in and out there quite a bit, so and that needs to be extra reinforced. But then when he wanders up to the main mansion, you just hear "Confound it, Master Bruce!"
Well, it was interesting you said suits there, Niall, because I had a question as well. I've written down here: have you ever enjoyed wearing a double-breasted jacket?
Yes.
I
Certainly.
don't like them. I don't think maybe it's my style or lack of style. I can't wear a double-breasted jacket. I think they look strange, and I look like an old man. They're not cool. I don't look cool. He looks cool in it, though. This is the difference.
I think just about everybody looks cool in a double-breasted jacket. Think Steve McQueen. Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's cool though. You haven't
he's
seen
very
me.
Cool. I haven't. It's true. I haven't. But and he very clearly, so I noted the double-breasted as well, and also the turtleneck. So you don't put those things on in the morning unless you are out to be cool guy. So he's going to her office to be, the cool guy. But he ruins it. He
wants to attract her as himself, I think. And he's not too full on with it, but he's like, right, okay, I'm going to make a good first impression. I'm going to dress up. I'm going to put on my nicest turtleneck. And he pulls that off.
It's almost like a dress rehearsal for the Saint, basically. He just looks like, this is what the Saint would wear. The thing is, I myself cannot pull off those jumpers, though. I've never been able to do it. I'm not a jumper guy in general. But the turtleneck is just I think you need the right type of chin and neck for it. And I just don't have
So
it.
The translation of jumper, of course, is...
Well, sweater, I guess.
Thank you.
To be fair, we use both words, so sweater makes sense in English too.
It does, but I thought jumper was for women, so I didn't know that you could be a man wearing jumpers. See, you learned something new.
Very famous Irish song by the Sultans of Ping FC called "Where's Me Jumper."
The Sultans of Ping.
Yeah, Sultans of Ping.
Can't believe I've missed that one. Okay.
Oh, it's great. It's really, really
I'm now writing it down.
Okay. Ireland's a strange place.
It's all about a guy going out just on the tear as a teenager, and then realizing that he's gone out to the dance floor and realized he's lost his jumper. Basically, that's the whole song.
I've never lost a sweater on the dance floor. I have put my coat down, gone to dance, and come back, and it's been stolen twice.
Oh, sorry, bummer.
Yes, yeah. So once it had my wallet and passport in it, so that was a bit of a problem. But the second time, jokes on them. There was nothing in it. Suckers.
As like just the moth coming out to attack them.
There were bills in there. They had to pay them for me.
But we'll say though, because as Bruce and Chase are getting to know each other here. Of course, then he brings up what the reason he's actually there. A slight difference from the original Bachelor draft of the script, because it has an additional scene with Alfred at this point before he goes to Chase Meridian, where they essentially kind of cover the same stuff. Interestingly enough, Christy, because it says at the beginning of the scene, Bruce sits at his command center chair studying Inside Schizoid Dementia by Dr. Chase Meridian.
Hey. Oh, no kidding. Okay. Did it also show up that it was published by Gotham Press, which means she's a local? For some reason.
No, it did not. No.
Hang on a minute.
It doesn't mean
Hang on.
She doesn't have to be a local, but that should be a local publishing company.
But they've called her in from out of town.
I know.
Plot hole.
Alfred comes in carrying a bunch of stuff and is like, "Oh, no one at the door, sir. Just this odd envelope." Alfred kind of comments like, "Oh, yes, I can see you're steeped in scholarly research for Dr. Chase Meridian." Bruce says she has an excellent mind. And Alfred says she appears to have an excellent everything. And then Bruce responds with, she's brilliant. No pretentious psychobabble. Cuts right to the heart of things, which, if, Chrissy's saying about her titles of the book, apparently she doesn't. But,
nope.
Yeah, well.
And then Alfred says, if I misinterpreted your interest in the young lady, I humbly apologize. Bruce says, I wonder if she'd go out with me. And Alfred says, I retract my apology.
That would have been quite funny. I can see why they cut it. I mean, the movie's long enough without that, but it's quite a good bit of fun.
Although it has an additional thing, which I thought was quite interesting, because remember throughout the first movie, we kept talking about, like, oh, there's stuff from, like, original drafts and things that never made it into the finished movie that would end up in The Dark Knight in 2008. And we're like, geez, I wonder if friggin'... Was Nolan he's like, no one's used this old Batman script. I'm just going to swipe a bunch of stuff from it.
Why not?
But at one point, Bruce then, to have a nosy at Dr. Chase Meridian, says, the computer screen beep beep beeps and comes alive, mapping out a complicated phone call routing system. As he hits the target destination, we hear a busy signal on the speaker. Video shows of all of Gotham, then zooms into districts, neighborhoods, streets, a building, then Chase's window as she talks on the phone.
Ooh.
Bruce is sitting going, who's she talking to? And then looks around to make sure that Alfred's actually gone. And Bruce says, like, oh, sorry, Alfred, this is for a noble cause. And then Alfred pops his head back in and says, by the way, the FCC frowns heavily upon listening into private conversations. But Bruce is sitting lip-reading Chase Meridian at this point. And that's the whole friggin' thing at the end of The Dark Knight. It was like, oh yeah, I've got a thing that can track phone signals and bring me a picture of you on your phone. And then Lucius Fox been like, this is wrong, Batman. You shouldn't be doing this type of thing. So I'm wondering, friggin' Chris Nolan going, there was this old draft of Batman Forever they got lying about. I wonder if there's any ideas I can swipe from that as well.
Do it. Don't waste anything.
Yeah. If it's going to work, it's going to work.
And there's also, that is getting the flat out, like, Batman always is this, like, oh, he's always on the line, but he never crosses it. To a lot of people, like, oh, hacking into your phone and then sitting, somehow getting a big video signal of you in your office that he could watch anytime he wants, and lip reading as you're talking to someone.
That's crossing the line.
Little sketchy, eh? Little sketchy.
That's so far past the line, you can't even see the line. The line is a dot, the Batman, basically. The quote Joey Tribbiani there.
Something else I like here, well, not like, I found it very interesting, let's say. Does Bruce say that somebody's been sending him love letters?
He does. He does. I don't know why he said that.
Why? What? And the way he says this as well, he says, I thought you might give me your expert opinion. Why does he deliver it like that? What's he doing? Nobody says opinion like that. Opinion.
You think he's trying to make her jealous? Where he's like, she's not into me now, but he's like, well, somebody's clearly very into me. What do you think of this, Chase?
That's what it is.
Someone's got the hots for me. She's like, oh, great.
That's how you get them interested. Look, show how in demand you are.
No, still puzzled. Sorry.
I really did like how Chase is the one who solves the riddle, though. Even if it's stupidly fast, she does it way too quick. But it's just another good little addition to her character. It actually showing us that she's smart, not just telling us.
I love the stain she has as well, but she's like instantly like, it's a clock. It's like, of course it's a clock.
The stupid riddle.
Yeah.
Whereas I was sat there like, oh my god, what a clock? I cannot do riddles.
I almost forgot that I was going to do the riddle thing at the end of the episode as well. So. But yeah, Christy, what is your take though on Bruce Wayne and Batman as a character in terms of you obviously a bit of an expertise in psychology.
He's my favorite superhero because he has no superpowers. That's it. So what I like about these minutes is that I think they fit really, really well into the rest of this particular movie because they're doing all sorts of psychoanalysis, and not all psychology is psychoanalysis. In fact, very little of it is. But they're definitely trying to make, because it's interesting, and it's interesting for both of the characters and the way they go back and forth. So I particularly enjoyed these couple of minutes, and he's an interesting character. I still don't know. I'm keep thinking that what you just said about this is one of the first scenes that they did, because I'm not quite sure about their going back and forth. They're trying to be smarter than each other. They're goofy. Well, she's not goofy, but he's a little goofy. But he's trying to be cool, and that's a lot to get done in just a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
I don't think that was your question, but anyway, that's what I'm thinking about. I'm not sure he's Batman though, and I know that's a different conversation altogether. But
who is your Batman? Because I know
Adam West. Duh.
Oh, Adam West. Oh, fair enough.
He's very well. Okay, that's a different conversation altogether.
What do you make of the movie as a whole then? I mean, we'll get to like your history with it and that at the end of the week, but do you like it? Because people are very torn on this one. I think Batman and Robin usually just gets hate, and the previous two generally get a lot of love, and then this one's kind of in the middle for a lot of people.
This one would be in the middle, but anything with that Tim Burton is involved in, I have a very hard time with. Oh. So I made sure to watch it again, and I liked it much more than expected because it's Burton-y, but it's not super Burton-y, and of course he didn't direct it. No, I definitely like this movie.
Was it the right amount of weirdness that Burton brought, but toned down with the kind of camp? Is that what you liked, the mixture?
No, actually, we could have toned down the weirdness. I can always do with less weirdness. Even less weirdness.
You're saying Adam West is your Batman, and you're saying tone down the weirdness in this whole thing.
Well, yeah, I see what you're saying there, but
Adam West is weird, but not like dark and twisted weird.
No, he's not dark and. I mean, he's wearing. I mean, look at what he's wearing, for goodness sake. He's not. You just can't take that guy seriously, and yet he takes himself very seriously. He's, that's my Batman. That's my Batman right there. So, and I think that we had, and of course, I love Tommy Lee Jones as a villain. Jim Carrey was okay. He's all right, but yeah. So
it's usually the other way around. I've seen a lot of the press and a lot of people's reviews, because people expect it of Jim Carrey. He kind of gets praised. It's been like, oh, Jim Carrey is a great Riddler because they obviously got him in to do it with his usual shtick. And Tommy Lee Jones usually gets a lot of hate because people are like, what the hell is he doing in this? Like, he's not playing the part.
Well, of course,
with Two-Faces at all.
My Riddler is the actual Riddler, not Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey could play the Riddler all he wants, but my Riddler is what name escapes me right now, of course, but that guy.
Frank
there
Ocean
you go.
Riddler.
That's the one. That's the one. There are no more Riddlers after Frank Ocean.
But does anyone have anything else for this minutes in particular, or should we move on to the next?
That's all my notes for this one.
That's all I got.
Oh. But one thing we're doing this season, Christy, is that on the Monday, I pose a riddle to the guests and John.
And I fail to get it. Yeah.
And then to see if if they can get it. Then if they can't, at the end of the week, because then the Listeners Society also has an opportunity to chime in and see if they can, and keep saying, don't just look it up. See if you can.
No, that's not a riddle. No, you got to do it.
Yeah. I will say because at the time we're recording this, our first week is just posted, and there were a lot of people genuinely coming in with because it was the question was why is an orange like a bell? And then people were coming in going I'm not going to answer it, but here's a picture of Jordan Peele that you might find kind of related and stuff. And all right, oh yeah, you get it.
Okay, I'm ready for my riddle.
Okay. So this one is, riddle me this. When is the time of a clock like the whistle of a train?
Huh. I hate you.
I didn't write it.
Well, I'm not supposed to answer it now. I'm supposed to just
if you know the answer, by all means, come out and say it.
Oh. No, I'm gonna have to take some time with that. Sorry. I didn't know there was gonna be a riddle. I didn't know there was a quiz.
Take the week. We will head off now into the dark, dark night. Christy, do you have anything you'd like to promote, or would you like to tell people where they can get in touch with you, or do you want to just remain anonymous?
It's too late for that, isn't it? So yes, Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull. Listen to it and join us on the Listeners Crusade at Indiana Jones and the Listeners Crusade Facebook page. Whatever they say it better.
But come and talk to us as well at the Bat-Minute Listeners Cave on Facebook. And come and buy a t-shirt on TeePublic. That's always nice. Send us a tweet. Niall will probably respond to you on that. It's at Bat-Minute. Give us a review on iTunes. We love it when you do that. And we will see you again on Wednesday for more Bat-Minute Forever.
I suddenly remember my Charlemagne. May my armies be the trees and the rocks and the bats in the sky.
Dad, I don't think that's actually a Charlemagne.
Well, shut up, Junior. Next time, a head shrinker faces a head scratcher. Still recovering from boot-in-mouth syndrome after harming a hallway hatch, Bruce hopes that mulling over a mystery may make a match. But while he's dazing at decor and lost in thought, will a quizzical quack discern a shaky secret by an intriguing ink blot? Find out Wednesday. Same Bat Pod, different Bat Minute. Ba-da-da, ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da.